Welcome to the most listened to golf in the world, the Fairways of Life show, on air, online, and around the world, with the most candid interviews, unforgettable stories, taking you beyond the ropes. Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author, Matt Adams.
As we welcome you into the Fairways of Life show, it is the week of the 45th Ryder Cup. That is Bethpage Black. That was yesterday at the opening ceremonies. Look at the crowds there. I mean, do you expect it? Outside of New York City, we're going to be talking about it. Yesterday was kind of cloudy. We're going to be talking about the weather because it is not just cloudy today. There's plenty of rain in the forecast. There'll be some thunder boomers in there. Opens up the question about practice, kind of makes the Europeans who came in a week early and got in plenty of practice look like a very measured, strategic, smart move on their part, because you're just not sure how much practice you get in today and how much does it really approximate what you're going to be facing in the coming days. There is their captain, Luke Donald, from yesterday, speaking to the assembled as we welcome you into our PXG custom studios. You've never played like this before. Log on to pxg.com and check out the PGA Tour Series Brandon putter. It's 100% milled, so it delivers the blade style elegance with modern performance. Again, pxg.com is where you can go to check all of this out. So not only today will we be talking about, as I mentioned to you, the weather. I want to touch on that. I may do that in just the next second. I want to know what you guys are thinking as we are, although in the AM hours, this is the eve of the start of this Ryder Cup. And I'm curious, Dom, I'm curious about this question. When we wait for the start of the Masters on a yearly basis, it's like waiting for Godot. It is so torturously long to get to a point where the Masters is upon us. But with the Ryder Cup, it's 2 years. Even though I know it's offset by the President's Cup year, does that take away a little bit of the hunger, a little bit of the thirst? Or is it when we get to this point? We talk about it all the time. On the eve of the Masters, we all feel like it's like we're 5 years old and it's Christmas Eve. Does everybody have the same feeling about the Ryder Cup?
I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but I certainly do.
Do you? Do you? Is it
Yeah,
the same
absolutely.
fevered pitch?
No, well, I would say it's almost more so because the storylines are less because the field of players is less, but somehow the excitement is ratcheted up because there are less storylines. There's only so many things can happen, and you're just waiting for them to happen. And I feel like, especially if you're specifically talking about something like the Masters, there's anything could happen. There's so many things that could happen because the field is huge and the layers and the variables, there's just so many things that could happen. In the Ryder Cup, a lot can happen, but less can happen because there's less people. It's kind of like, well, is Bryson DeChambeau going to show up or not? It's kind of one or the other. It's not where it's the Masters where it's like anything could happen. Anyone can come from anywhere. You only got 12 guys on both teams.
Are you saying that because there's 72 holes? You know what I mean? How some players start slow and all of a sudden they come back. They have a couple of great rounds to right in the mix, and maybe they do something special.
Yes and no. That is one layer of what I'm talking about. But the reality is, like, for example, take Victor Hovland and Ludwig Åberg. You know they're going to play together. You just know they're going to play together. It's expected. And so there are some questions, as an example, coming into this, right? Schauffele and Cantlay are going to play together. So there's a lot of questions that are already answered. But the fun part, which is, to me, like you asked me, is it more so? I would say yes, it is. The fun part is it can either go one way or the other. Whereas at the Masters, anything can happen. Here, it's like I said, Our Schauffele can't Xander Schauffele's not been playing great. He just hasn't been. So are they going to fall flat or are they not? It's either one or the other. I don't think there's not really middle ground at a Ryder Cup, Matt.
Yeah.
It's not like, well, they're going to show up or, we'll see how it goes. It's going to be okay. It's like, no.
I don't even know how
someone's
going to
fall on their face or they're not.
Once they get here. Because Victor Hovland and Ludwig Oberg aren't playing like they did coming into Rome either. So we'll see. You know what? That's one of the things. Don't go away on me here, Dom, because I'm going to ask you about the weather in a second. But that's one of the things, folks, that we're going to talk about today as well is I'm going to give you my predictions of what I think we're going to hear later on today from the captains in terms of who will be representing the respective sides in the opening session, which is foursomes, which, as you guys know, is alternate shot. So we'll be talking about that as well. But what are you hearing in terms of the weather today? It's not looking good today, but I'm particularly interested in what it means for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So the basic part of this is there shouldn't be any stoppage in play. We're not having any major thunderstorms. That being said, it's going to be real wet. Andrew, why don't you throw that up there? And I'm going to read the official forecast here, which will include the rain that is going to take place today. Rain and storms will persist today into early morning Friday and will become scattered showers after 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then isolated showers behind a cold front in the afternoon. The total rainfall, important here, the total rainfall of 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches of rain is anticipated Thursday, which is today.
Well, that's a lot of rain.
It is a lot of rain. And then we just talked about the intermittent rain expected tomorrow. Patchy fog may occur also tomorrow morning and Sunday morning. And isolated showers cannot be ruled out.
Don't be ruling
for
them out.
Saturday afternoon. And scattered showers are possible Saturday evening into Sunday morning before things diminish completely on Sunday afternoon. So a couple notes there. One, and the rain earlier in the week too, there's like 2 inches of rain that will have fallen on this golf course, and it's going to be soft, and they've already cut the rough down. So that is something to keep an eye on. Hopefully you don't get an inordinate amount of mud balls or issues in the bunkers with standing water. I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. But it will be isolated rain and storm. I don't want to say storms, but rain on Friday, Saturday, and maybe even on Sunday morning. But it does not look like, you did not hear me say thunderstorms anywhere there. So I don't think there's going to be any stoppage.
Proper, yeah. Today they're going to.
During tournament proper, yeah. So I think there's going to be more rain and it's kind of going to just be wet during the Ryder Cup, Matt. It's just going to be a wet Ryder Cup.
There you go. Yeah, it's funny because when I was up there earlier this week, it was absolutely gorgeous. But this is the time, the thing that they got lucky on, there's 2 huge storms churning off. I don't know where they are right now. They always... they always talk about the Lesser Antilles. I don't know where the Lesser Antilles is. Somewhere off Africa, right? What do they say? Andrew, you got to be getting... Derek from Morocco's got to be weighing in on that right now. But you never hear about the Lesser Antilles other than the fact that they have some storm churning off their coast. No one's ever like, hey, where'd you go? Where was your vacation? Where was your holiday? Oh, well, we went down to the Lesser Antilles. And are the Lesser Antilles distinctive from the Greater Antilles? Is there a Greater Antilles?
I mean, if you think I can answer geography questions,
I'm waiting
you
here
came to the
patiently.
wrong
My
guy.
producer giving me
There
absolutely
are 50
nothing.
states in the United States.
Yeah.
I know that. If you asked me to name capitals right now, I would end up being fired.
Incredible
from this
resort
program.
at the Lesser Antilles. You got to be careful what time of year you go down there. So I will be talking about my picks for the opening session in foursomes. And the opening session has proven to be, time and again, really important. It's like you go macro level, then you kind of go micro, then you go micro. It's really important, and I'm sure somewhere, Dom, you've seen the stats. I don't have them in front of me right now. How important it is to win the first hole tomorrow. Starts at 10 a.m. Andrew, do you have some of the airtimes for us in your bag of tricks?
Hold on. Put that up first, Andrew. Wait, go back to that.
Dom,
he did all the work. He did all the work.
What was it?
What was that?
What were you guys searching?
It was some map.
Oh, the Lesser Antilles you were going to give us? Oh, here we go.
There you go.
Where are they? All those islands are the Lesser Antilles?
It's like, it looks like it's sort of everything that exists
Antigua
within the
and
Caribbean area.
Barbuda, St. Kitts, Montserrat. I mean, some of these islands I've actually have heard people going to. St. Lucia, St. Vincent. So these are islands that people go to.
Did you think they were places
I didn't know what the Lesser Antilles were.
Well.
Because they apparently churn off a lot of storms over there. Oh, there you go. You asked for it and we deliver. There's your Lesser Antilles. Maybe we should do a trip there, Dom, a fan trip to Lesser Antilles.
Yeah, why not? We'll go right into the eye of the storm. Let's do it.
Yeah, this time of year, you probably get some really good accommodations, like really good deals. Might be an 8-club wind or more. So we'll look into that. But anyway, I can't be the only one that wonders about that stuff. I know what Dom's saying. He's looking at me like, you're the only one. So, Andrew, I saw it in the preview in our studio here. You were about to give me some airtime so that for the people at least that are watching us in North America could know when and where. And I'm assuming that for people in Canada that they're I bet there's different distribution. Someone that's watching us in Canada right now, let us know if it's the same as is in the United States. But at least in the USA, tomorrow at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, the coverage will begin on USA Network, and it will run all day. And then Saturday from 7 a.m. Eastern Time, it can be found on the mothership of NBC. And then Sunday, the coverage doesn't start until noon on NBC. Dom tells us that the radio, the streaming, and is the streaming, are there dedicated channels? I assume there's probably a channel for each match.
They're going to be doing what they call they're going to be doing what they call featured matches. So they're not going to be following each individual match, but they'll probably be following 1 or 2 matches.
Why not? There's only 4. I mean, why is this?
I mean, maybe they are.
The
I
Ryder
haven't
Cup,
seen
this is where you have to practice
thing,
austerity?
I'm just sharing, Matt. Don't kill the messenger here.
I don't think the messenger fully knows. I think the messenger was kind of just winging it off his Lesser Antilles.
Maybe, maybe not. We'll never know.
All right, that's what I'm thinking. All right, so Tommy Fleetwood was amongst the Europeans that spoke yesterday. We featured Scotty Scheffler from the U.S. side. Tommy was asked the question of whether the team is being encouraged to engage with the faithful in the New York City metropolitan area, which I think is an interesting question, as though it's digging up some type of, I don't know, some type of scandalous information, perhaps. No. I mean, if you were the captain of a visiting team, wouldn't you tell your team, hey, if you can, mix with the locals and be nice to them? Right? Show them that we're good guys. So anyway, he was asked about that. And he was also asked about the question of, you're in a team competition like this, and does it help you when you're one of 12 versus when you're out there all by yourself? Here's Tommy.
Well, yeah, everybody was amazing yesterday, and like I said, look, the sort of job of the home crowd is to support the home team, and you wouldn't hold anything against anybody in that way. But yesterday they were amazing. They were very supportive of us. It's important. The Ryder Cup is, for us as golfers, it's the biggest showcase of the sport that we get. It comes along every 2 years, and all of those. I look back at my my favorite Ryder Cup moments and shots that I might have hit, or you look back down the years. Crowds, without the crowds, that it's not quite the same. It just doesn't feel the same, and they're such a huge part of that. So to engage with them here is really important. It's great. It's great to soak up that atmosphere, whether it's home or away. And like I say, they were all amazing yesterday. I loved interacting with them. I love signing stuff, seeing the kids and all of that. I thought that was great. And yeah, it's different when it's go time. Like when it's time to play. I think that's like every other tournament, except this one's hyped up. When it's time to play, I've always felt like I really just want to focus on my game, focus on each shot, try and get into my bubble as much as possible, especially when I'm coming in to play my shots. And that's kind of no different in the Ryder Cup, except it's just an extreme atmosphere. It's the most extreme atmosphere that we get. But crowd is such a huge part of the Ryder Cup. Yeah, I think being part of a team is really beautiful. It's something that we don't get to do week in, week out, and especially something like this where there's so much, there's so much history about the Ryder Cup, and I think being part of Team Europe, I've always been made so aware of the legacy that is Team Europe. We're sort of carrying that right now, but there's a time when we won't be playing, and there'll be plenty others that come after us. There's plenty that have been before us, and I think it's such a privilege and a luxury that we get to do that all together. And yeah, like the team being with the 11 other players, the vice captains, the captain, the backroom staff, having that support network, having those guys that make you want to be the best version of yourself. I mean, when you're playing individually and you turn up in a crappy mood on the day, you just don't have to speak to anyone. You just like get on with it. And but I think every day when you turn up as part of Team Europe, it drives you to be the absolute best version of yourself. And whether you're playing well, whether you're playing bad, whether you're feeling tired, whether you're feeling great, you just you do what is best for the team and you try and give your all. And I think it just brings out the best in all of us.
All right, so Tommy, two observations. First of all, I thought yesterday when they were introducing the European team that it was Tommy and probably Rory. Those were the two that got the biggest applause from those gathered. There was Tommy coming out yesterday. They weren't cheering for him at that moment. That's not what I was talking about. But, when he was introduced by Luke Donald. But the other observation I have is, you're Tommy Fleetwood. You're a smart guy. You're sitting there in front of the world golf media and somebody says, Tommy, were you encouraged to engage with the New York locals? Did any of them want to attack you? And he's like, no, they were great. They were great. So I'm like, what else is he going to say? Seriously, what else would you expect Tommy Fleetwood to say other than like, no, they were great. They were great. Talk about rolling a hand grenade into a tea party if he was like, oh, no, they were horrible, Yeah, everywhere we went, they were yelling stuff at us, and they were mean to us and this and that. No, he's not going to do that. He's too smart to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like the questions that they get asked, and you're like, seriously? Why would you? But anyway, so Tommy's happy with that, and he likes that he's got a team behind him. And Tommy's name will come up here in a little bit because I have him slated for the opening session, and I want to see if you guys agree. Dom, by the way, did you do a question of the day today?
Yeah, of course. Who's going to win the Ryder Cup, Matt? It's tomorrow.
Is it? Okay.
Is it the U.S. or Europe? I didn't do an option for tied because that's stupid. That's not going to happen.
I'll note that. Ties are stupid.
Do you want the current?
Yeah.
Or you want to wait?
No. Drag it out as long as you can, Dom. Just
okay. Right now they're saying Europe. 69%, in fact, are saying Europe.
69%. We're saying Europe.
It's a landslide currently,
okay.
But we're early on here.
All right, fair enough. Any comments coming in? Aside, I know Derek, who is vigilant about watching
being told
Morocco.
we're getting a geography lesson on the Lesser Antilles from Derek.
He is. He did weigh in. I knew it.
Yeah, no, and Andrew's map was very accurate, so we're in good shape
map
there.
Is accurate.
Tune in tomorrow for a math lesson.
Yeah. I'll tell you the math lesson that since we're talking about.
I'll teach you how to do long division the new way. You should see what my son is learning. It makes no sense. They've changed math entirely. It's totally different now.
Nothing scared me more than when my kids were working on like calculus and stuff, and they're like, Dad, can you help me with this homework? And I'll be like, I'll get to it, but ask your mother at the moment.
Yeah, but I'm dealing with my son's in 5th grade, Matt.
Yeah, but you
and
can't be expected to know
I can't
fifth
even do
grade
that
math.
math.
Exactly.
Well, it's also stuff that, when was the last time that any of us watching this show, adults, it's like, what is 547 divided by 11? Like, what, who cares? Why do it's hard to
That's
say that to
actually
your
not that
son,
difficult,
right?
Tom. That was a really bad example. But
No, it was not a bad example. I don't know how to do that. I forgot completely. Last time I did that was when I was in 5th
that's
grade.
good. That's good. I'm glad that you're producing for us, which comes down to like milliseconds when we're.
Plus, I
putting
can
it
just
on
like
show.
ask,
Yeah.
anything. Ask the AI. Hey, can you do this math for me?
That is very, very
You know,
true. Ludwig Oberg spoke to the media yesterday as well as part of those who were flowing through from the European side. And I do want to get to, on the U.S. side, I want to get to, in particular, Justin Thomas from when he spoke to the media. But first, to Ludwig, he started out by being asked, do you feel better prepared coming into this Ryder Cup than in Rome, where he went 2-2-0? But interestingly enough, because we're going to talk about the opening session in foursomes, he was 2-0 in foursomes.
Yeah, I definitely feel more prepared. I think last time, 2 years ago, it was such a whirlwind for me. I think it was about 3 months since I turned pro, and I was sitting in Rome with those guys. So that was definitely a quick turnaround for me. And over the last 2 years, I've had experiences since that's really helped me. And although I still look back at Rome with a big smile and with a lot of cool experiences that I've had leading up to that event. So I think I do feel I kind of know a little bit more what to expect with a team room, and makes things a little bit easier. But it's definitely going to be a different challenge here this year, but something that we're really looking forward to. Yeah, I think so. I think you'd be naive to think it's going to be the same. I think the challenge, obviously there's challenges with playing at home, but the bigger challenges are going to be away. I think for me, I was fortunate enough to have a really good experience in Rome, and that being my first one. But I think this one's going to be a little bit different. Obviously, the whole environment, the whole situation calls for different preparation. I think Luke has done a tremendous job, Luke and his whole team, of making us aware of that and making us excited about what's to come. And yeah, it's just we have an opportunity to do something really special, and I think we have 12 guys who are really excited about that. It's very unique that we have so many guys coming back, and it's a very hard thing to do, because basically you have your same 12 guys performing at 11 at a really high level over a long period of time. And I think the team is very strong. We have some really good players, good personalities, lots of experience. Obviously, a more experienced team now than we were at 2 years ago. Especially with the rookies that we had last time that are no longer rookies. And Rasmus, who didn't play last time, but he was in the team room and he got to experience the whole setting of being a part of the team. And I'm really excited about him and what he can do this week. So yeah, I think we're 12 really excited guys who just wants to go out and play good golf and have fun in our matches.
I mean, I remember, I don't know exactly what age it was, but I definitely remember at a young age, being nervous was not cool. It was like, it showed like a sign of weakness. At least that's what I thought, when I was a little kid. It's like, if you're nervous, it's because you're scared and you don't want to be there, kind of thing. But, I mean, being nervous is great. I think if any of us were out here on the first tee, or were in a position to have a putt to win the Ryder Cup or win a match and we weren't nervous, that would be extremely concerning for our profession. We would need to take a long, hard look at ourselves in the mirror, because it's, this is what we do, this is what we practice for, and being in those moments. So if it didn't mean something to you, you obviously wouldn't be nervous. So yeah, I think that's why. I think I have a hard time viewing myself as that. I don't know if I'm quite ready to call myself the veteran, or because I think I associate the veteran with an older player, and I'm just not quite ready for that yet. But it's coming at me head on. It's just the reality. But I'm going to be anything that I feel like I need to be for this team, for certain players, for the captains. I know that I'm one of the leaders on the team, but I don't think there's necessarily one person on the team, the last couple teams I've been on that have been like, this is the person that, when in doubt, you're just kind of looking at them like, what do we do, or what's going on, kind of thing. And I think that's kind of what has made this this group, this age group or whatever you want to call it, a little bit different and special. Because I think it's something that'll be different or unique about New York maybe versus other home Ryder Cups, if you will, is they expect us to play well, and they want us to play well, and if we don't, they're going to be upset with us and disappointed in us, and rightfully so. I think New York is known as they like their championships, they want to win, and it's no different for the Ryder Cup, and that's what we're gonna try to do for them, and give them a reason to cheer even more. But I've said it all year and all along, is I'm happy to have them on my side, that's for sure.
It may not be that you need a new club. It may be that you need to make sure you have the proper driver. Newton Golf Shafts. Go to newtongolfco.com, and you can see their lightest Newton shaft ever because it's pushing boundaries of performance. It's called the Fast Motion Shaft. It uses a revolutionary lightweight design, but it doesn't sacrifice any of the power, that load that you can feel behind you, that innate energy that's ready to explode into the golf ball. It's actually 10 grams lighter than their motion shafts, and it's built to help you get more distance, to get more control and more confidence on every shot. Yes, NewtonGolfCo.com. NewtonGolfCo.com. Made right here in the USA. USA. Cue the chants, Andrew. Back with more of the Fairways of Life show. Who's going to start the opening session? We have it for you after this.
It takes focus, calculated aggression, and a precise mindset for shots like these. When the pressure builds, only the sharpest ball strikers survive. And Kurt Kitayama activated Weekend Warrior mode with a course record Saturday and a flurry of birdies Sunday. Congratulations, Kurt, winner of the 3M Open with the Tour BX mindset. Bridgestone Golf, the #1 ball fitter in golf.
FlightScope Mevo Plus is the ultimate indoor and outdoor golf launch monitor and simulator. It gives you the club and ball data you need with the accuracy you demand. Mevo Plus comes with ownership of simulated golf courses for you to play and practice at home. Mevo Plus is an essential golf partner to help you improve and understand your game better. Put more purpose in your practice. To learn more and get your Mevo Plus, shop now at flightscope.com.
Golfers today are a different breed.
Who? Me? We see the game in a different way.
We all have our own styles.
We swing our own swing.
We have one thing in common.
We are all about the details.
Introducing the Revel line of grips from Superstroke. With 3 distinct offerings to choose from, the Revel is in the details.
Our journey began with a simple yet powerful vision to provide the world with the highest quality Virginia-type peanuts. The Hubbard Peanut Company, where quality and tradition meet to create an unforgettable experience. Visit hubspeanuts.com to explore our full range of products and place your order today.
Middle market businesses are facing unprecedented shifts, which demand tailored solutions and decisive action. RSM stands as the unwavering leader of the middle market, empowering you to take charge of change and conquer this era of transformation. RSM. Experience the power of being understood.
I mean, yesterday was the first day with fans on Tuesday. and it's about the most people I've ever seen out on a golf course. So there's already a lot of energy, a lot of noise out there. You know, Tuesday, Wednesday, a lot of support for us. So, you know, just what you'd expect from a New York crowd. I think they'll bring a lot to it come Friday. You know, just knowing the personality up here of the fans, I think they'll bring a lot to it. I think, you know, we're hoping they're staying on our side, but I know that they'll let us have it too if we're not performing the way they want. A few different people. I mean, there's obviously some more experienced guys on the team, and then our assistant captains as well. But it's really kind of been a little bit from everybody. I mean, I've spoken to Keegan a lot. Just sat down and was eating lunch with Webb Simpson. You know, I've played a good bit with Justin Thomas over the last few days. Spoke to his caddy, spoke to Ted Scott a little bit, just trying to pick up little things here and there. And, you know, they've all got so much experience and so much wisdom from their times in these events. You just never know if you might hear something from any one of them that kind of resonates with you. And it's been nice to just hear some little different perspectives and pick up some things over the last few days. That first year for me was a lot of discovery in terms of just accepting that, you know, I fit in out here golf-wise, and that I'm, you know, meant to be here, and this is what I want to do, and, you know, I'm qualified to be on these teams. And at that point, you know, I'd been on tour for less than a year. You know, it was 11 or 12 months before making that team that I was still watching the PGA Tour as a fan. You know, I was playing on the Korn Ferry Tour, but, you know, I don't think that many people on the Korn Ferry Tour are turning on Korn Ferry Tour golf. It's PGA Tour is where you want to be. And to me, I was watching all these guys as a fan. And you stick me 10, 11 months later in the team room, and I'm sitting there kind of, you know, still a bit uncomfortable just because I don't know anybody really well. You know, there's a few guys on the team that I had known from junior golf, but there had been a gap, you know, 6, 7, 8 years where I hadn't really seen them much. So I was still getting my feet under me. And I think, you know, now that I've been out here for longer, I'm much more comfortable. You know, it's guys at this point that I play with at home. And now it's just overall way easier for me. I have a lot more belief, you know, in my golf, and just personally a lot more comfortable than I would have been, you know, that first year.
How long have you had this event at this venue circled on the calendar? Like, I want to be on this.
Since it was announced, yeah. I think it would have been while I was in high school. So it's been quite some time, and you know, at some point during the middle of this year, it seemed like a long shot, but you know, we just kept ourselves oriented toward being here this week, and you know, the golf started to change, and since then it's been really solid, and I feel like I really, you know, put myself in a place that I had an opportunity to earn my way here, and thankful to have done that, you know, late in the year.
So far this week, I've hit the ball actually probably better than I have. Statistically, I know my numbers ball striking wise look good, but it's a confidence thing. I think these weeks just pull out the best in you, especially when you have a home crowd like this and people are cheering you on and you want to just hit great shots. Sometimes your focus gets that much more intentional, and when intentions match kind of what you're trying to accomplish, you know, it sometimes comes together. So these weeks are a moment for that, and you want to step up to the plate, and you don't want to let not just the team down, but the rest of the country essentially that are rooting you on. Absolutely. There was a sour taste leaving Rome. You know, I think that was my first team loss like that I've ever had. Ever since, you know, even amateur golf and junior golf. So it felt really weird. Like it wasn't an okay feeling. You know, yeah, we're all out there drinking, having fun on Sunday night, but it just didn't feel right. You know, we had a job and we had a goal to accomplish that week, and we just didn't pull through. We weren't hitting the shots, we weren't making the putts. And when you're on an away stage like that, you've got to step up a little bit more. So yeah, you know, for the past couple of years, I wouldn't say it's haunted me, but it definitely, you know, woke me up when I was, you know, on the verge of making this team, to making sure that I was going to give everything I could. You know, we've had 4 weeks essentially since I've been on this team, and a lot of time to really think about what I need to do and what I need to bring to this week. No, look, I think Keegan and the PGA of America have fought in certain ways. I think just to, whether it's a thank you or look, I think the PGA of America and then whoever's making a lot of money from the Ryder Cup, right, is they're making a lot of money. And I think on that end, it's just to give us an opportunity to either pay our respected teams, because look, the teams behind us, they don't get the recognition that we do, but they deserve a lot of it that we get. But also just to give back to our own communities, right? We have a lot of communities back home that sometimes don't get the recognition, that don't get the word of mouth, just because we don't travel to those places that the PGA Tour stops on every week. So just more opportunities, I think, for us to help out people that we care about.
If you were actually being fairly compensated for the time that you put into this, is $200,000 anywhere close?
Don't trap me in a corner. There's no number. It could be zero. It could be $1. It could be there isn't a right or wrong amount. Look, I think at the end of the day, all 12 of us here playing when we teed up on Friday, and before this all started, we just want to win the Ryder Cup. We want to win it for ourselves. We want to win it for our country. When we stood out there 2 days ago and we got speeches from the Nassau Players Club and we got speeches from the firefighter and his son, I'm not an emotional guy, but there was emotions, and sometimes it just hits home. And when you hear that type of stuff and you're able to bring out that emotion, just being able to represent a country, you want to step on that first tee and put points on the board. That's all I'm going to ever remember. So hopefully we have a great 3 days coming this weekend.
A lot of ground covered there, but I think his last answer was pretty good to an incredibly leading question. If you were paid what it was really worth, would $200,000? I mean, come on. I thought he was really good. He was like, "Don't try to trap me," which was well delivered on that. So, Dom, I'm going to go over my predictions now for the opening session. Don't put it in there just yet, Andrew, because I think Dom has breaking news that some pairings are out. Right. No.
No. They're not pairings for the event. They're pairings just for today for the practice round.
Well, that would have been a great tease to get people to really lean in.
Idiot.
What do you got?
You're not listening. The pairings for today's practice round were released. And I was just commenting because it was interesting that Europe sent out Victor Hovland separate from Ludwig Åberg today. The pairings are as follows: Fitzpatrick, Fleetwood, Hovland, McIntyre, Hatton, Lowry, Rory, and Rose, and Åberg, Højgaard, Rahm, and Straka. And this is what it lists for Team USA today. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., potential practice on all practice facilities. That's how it's listed.
What times do they have for these different groups?
For Europe, they're going off at 11, 11:15, and 11:30, so they'll all be back-to-back out there.
Okay, so they're trying to find a window there somewhere. Go ahead.
Yep. And the U.S. team is just listed as 11 to 2, potential practice on all facilities for whatever the hell that means.
Okay.
So.
Great hit.
Do you want yesterday's pairings so I can give you something for the Americans?
No, that was good. It was excellent. Thank you for the depth of information you're providing. What's going on with the question of the day? Who's going to win the Ryder Cup?
Let's see if it's changed. Stand by. It has! Oh, the tables have turned. 57% say the United States are now going to win the Ryder Cup. It is definitive. It will happen, it said. It said right there, 57%. And keep in mind, I did not have a tie as an option because, come on.
You already noted that ties are stupid. We wrote it down.
That's right. I didn't even count it. It's not even a thing that could happen.
Great. It's all duly noted. Okay. Opening session on Friday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time is the start. And the coverage, I think somebody, Andrew told me, wrote in, was talking about Sky's coverage in the UK. So that obviously 7 a.m. Eastern time is noontime in England, in the UK. And so they're starting with foursomes. And I was talking to you about the significance of the opening session. In 2023, the opening session, of course, was foursomes. Europe went 4-0. And when Europe went 4-0, from that point on, the United States was fighting an uphill battle, right? Cast your minds to 2021. The United States goes 3-1. And then they end up winning by an absolutely dominating final score of 19-9. We'll go back to 2018. In this format, foursomes wasn't early on Friday. It was Friday afternoon. And on Friday afternoon, Europe went 4-0 in the format. So you could see how important the format is on day one to the outcome of the Ryder Cup. Just full stop. It speaks for itself. But I think it's even more acute when it's the opening session. So, for the opening session, let's go down this road. Ready, roll the drums. Andrew, go ahead and slide it in there. You can see these are Maddie's predictions of Friday morning foursomes. World number one, Scotty Scheffler. They're going to need Scotty. We've heard it a million times. It's almost cliche. The world number one's got to play well. He's got to become a powerhouse in the Ryder Cup. He and Russell Henley, they were great at the last President's Cup. They went 2-1 at that. I've got them against Jon Rahm and Tyrrell Hatton. Rahm has opened the last two Ryder Cups. That opening session, he's opened the last two. He won both matches in 21. He did with Sergio, and in 23 he did it with Tyrrell Hatton. I think that's going to be the opening match. You've got Scotty Scheffler and all that he represents, and you've got Russell Henley, not terribly long, but terribly consistent, very good with his approach, and great when that putter goes on a run. Jon Rahm is Jon Rahm, and Tyrrell Hatton is Tyrrell Hatton. That's a power pairing in that latter one in terms of all that it could mean. Match number 2. It is written. Bryson DeChambeau and Cam Young. That is about power and power. Think about that with the frenzy that will be that first tee tomorrow morning when you send Bryson DeChambeau out there second representing the United States. In fact, I want to talk to you about Bryson in a little bit here coming up. I've got them against Victor Hovland and Ludwig Aubert. That was the pair that won 9 and 7 in this format. It was on Saturday in Rome. And that 9 and 7 was over Scotty Scheffler and Brooks Koepka. Not a couple of players that are easily intimidated. Match number 3. With a record of 7-4-1, I've got Justin Thomas pairing with the rookie Ben Griffin. And I think Ben's going to perform well because he's already proven time and time again that he's capable of rising. I've got them against McIntyre and Rose. Now, a couple different things. First of all, Bob McIntyre showed us a little glimpse of his capacity to be fiery. Remember at the BMW where he shushed the crowd? But McIntyre, in his first Ryder Cup in Rome, didn't play in foursomes. He did go 2-0-1. So he went undefeated in Rome. And Justin Rose, it's interesting because in Rome, he didn't play in foursomes, but he's 7-2-1 in foursomes in his Ryder Cup experience for Europe. So that's why I see in match number 3. And then match number 4, the fireworks continue. I see Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele. Now, Cantlay and Schauffele went 0-2 in foursomes in Rome. But in the format, representing Team USA, they're 6-3. I see them up against the new Fleetwood Mac in Rory McIlroy and in Tommy Fleetwood. And then Dom asked me for a couple of others when I was giving him these this morning. He goes, who do you think the breakout star is going to be? I think Cameron Young has the capacity to be the breakout star. I have seen a lot of the banter over the last couple of days where people are saying, no, I think it's going to be Russell Henley because he's so darn steady. But Cameron Young, and by the way, he also asked me for my pick for the winner. I think it's going to be incredibly close. So I have the United States edged at 15-13. It's just my sense of what it's going to be. Andrew, can you bring up the Cameron Young stats we were talking about? Because what Cameron Young has been able to do over the course of this year is amazing to me. I was assigned to follow him at Royal Liverpool, and, you know, I thought Cameron Young should have won by 10 shots. That's how good his ball striking was. It was one of the best ball striking displays I've ever seen in my life. But his putter was awful. Absolutely awful. I think last year, if memory serves me, he was 124th in strokes gained putting. Right? Not even close to average. Look at it. You can see it over there. Look at it on the chart that's next to me. 6th in strokes gained putting this past year. That is an absolutely remarkable turnaround because he hasn't given up any of that power that he has off the tee. Look at his last 5 events. He went from a cut to win 5th, 11th, tied for 4th. That is what got him. That form is what got him on this Ryder Cup team. So if he does what he's capable of doing in a part of the country that he's incredibly familiar with because he grew up there, and he shot a course record at the Black Course in competition, I think that Cam Young could be the one to be the breakout. So there you go. You guys weigh in accordingly. We're going to take another break here. When we come back, a really cool video that Team Europe put out, kind of a motivational video that was incredibly well done. I wonder if it's being done on the U.S. side, and we haven't seen this stuff yet, but the European side, including like yesterday, we played for you Luke Donald giving us a tour of the locker room, etc. I did see, I'll correct one thing, I did see a pretty cool video that Team USA put out when it was on Monday, and Captain Bradley brought the team down to the first tee and gave like a motivational speech. I thought that was really neat too. So we're going to get a glimpse kind of behind the curtain with that when we come back as the Fairways of Life show continues. Stay with us.
Yes! This is golf.
Nice shot, honey.
And this is Golf's Superstore.
Oh, yeah, we'll take this.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous Parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct-to-consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
We know there's more in you. More distance, more accuracy, more consistency. That's why we created the PXG Black Ops driver to unleash your potential. Packed with innovative technology and unmatched adjustability, PXG Black Ops drivers are custom fitted for your swing and engineered to maximize your performance. To play your best, play the best. PXG Black Ops drivers. Book your fitting at pxg.com or a PXG location near you. PXG, you've never played like this before.
Imagine your ultimate golf experience. There's a good chance it's Michigan's Magnificent 11. 11 spectacular courses from Boyne Golf, varied in both topography and play. Boyne Golf was named the #1 best golf destination in USA Today Reader's Choice 2025. And the Highlands at Harbor Springs is the #2 golf resort in that same USA Today poll. The ultimate golf experience. That's Michigan's Magnificent 11.
Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams. You know, Hub's Peanuts has been cooking up the top 1% of peanuts for over 70 years. And these aren't your average nut. These are super extra large Virginia peanuts cooked in the USA. Family-owned Hub's Peanuts have more protein than any other nuts. So whether it's a boost on the course or a special gift, the variety of flavors guarantees Hub's Peanuts is just what you need. Family-owned, nutritious, delicious, and sustainable. Hub's Peanuts, it's just right. HubsPeanuts.com.
When you choose Newton shafts, you're choosing more than a product. You're choosing innovation, pride, and excellence right here in America. We pay attention to the minutest of details, and you can feel that in the performance of our shafts.
4! This is golf, and this is Golf Superstore, the only place you can walk in for a free driver fitting, have it built, and tee it up the same day. Try Fit and Go today.
That was courtesy of the European Ryder Cup team. And what, aside from it being incredibly well produced, is the fact that it was clear that what you guys just saw was not intended as an entertainment piece for the world to enjoy, although we did. That was intended to be viewed by the members of the European Ryder Cup team. It is 100% crystal clear that that's part of the motivational message that they were sending forth. And where you heard the legend Tony Jacklin talking about, New York City and the fact that that whole area, the Northeast, was built on the backs of Europeans. It was people immigrating from Europe coming in that did the work to build the infrastructure of the USA. I mean, it's incredible. And so I thought it was a very, very cool piece. Dom, you had mentioned something in my ear. You wanted to react to something you heard from Justin Thomas, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole and end up talking about this forever, but I just think it's interesting and I think it's worth a discussion.
Okay.
Towards the end of Justin Thomas's little clip that we played today on the show, Justin said, essentially, our team doesn't have a leader. We don't, there's not one guy on our team that is the guy.
Okay.
And I would argue that is a horrible thing. And that is a huge detriment to the team. Because if you asked anybody on Team Europe who the leader of the team is, they would immediately and unquestionably say Rory McIlroy.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And
I guess, yeah.
They would also all say, and you can, as you can quite clearly see in that video, that...
Would you go ahead and put the two teams up there, if you would, for me?
Seve is kind of the all-time leader, if you will. Like, they always look back and always
he's like the
remember
ultimate,
Severi.
like soldier.
He's the...
For
he
Team
is
Europe.
He is sort of the ultimate leader or the father of
the
it all.
inspiration. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah.
And with every passing Ryder Cup, I think it's traditionally you can tell who the leader of the team is.
Well, I mean, if you look at up on your TV screens right now, Dom, I don't disagree with that Rory McIlroy is probably the alpha, right? But others that would be looked upon in terms of leadership roles, Justin Rose, right? The veteran that he is, major champion. Shane Lowry has asserted himself a lot of ways. John Rahm, there's little doubt about that. I mean, those would be the ones that I would look at. Yeah, on the U.S. side, see, it's interesting that JT said that, what you're noting, because I would have put him as kind of the de facto leader of the team. He's 7-4-2 in the Ryder Cup. At times, I thought at not necessarily the Ryder Cup as much, but a little bit, but definitely at the President's Cup, I thought he got his chest a little too puffed out, and I thought that some of the way that he reacted was, I don't know whether it felt immature to me or arrogant. I don't know what it was, but that was also a younger Justin Thomas, and I'm not sure if he would be the same way or not. That remains to be seen. I'm just trying to look through. I think Bryson has the potential to be a team leader, but he hasn't been there since 21. I know Bryson's doing a brilliant job connecting with people, but I don't know whether he does a brilliant job from a leadership standpoint with the people who are standing around him. I'd be curious what other people think about that. Yeah, it's kind of interesting as you hear me kind of going, because Scotty Scheffler, it doesn't seem like a role that he necessarily embraces, or is it automatic? You're world number one, you're automatically like a team leader.
I mean, obviously we're discounting that each team has a captain, and I understand that. But I'm talking about on the field of play is what I'm referencing, and in the heat of the battle. And I think that's
an interesting point too, Dom, because is your point somewhat blunted by the fact that the captain of the United States team in Keegan Bradley is a current player and a very successful current player?
Well, I think what I would argue, what I would ask, the question I would have for the people, for you, for people who are experts. I'm not an expert. I'm just saying that to me, if you just look at the team, the players playing in the Ryder Cup on the left side of your screen there,
yep,
it doesn't feel to me like there's a single person that galvanizes the rest. And I wonder if that's a problem and a bad thing. And when I heard Justin Thomas's comments where he basically said, you don't really have a leader, my immediate thought is I think about all the other sports, right? Like the Patriots, who were a dynasty for decades. They had a coach. They had Bill Belichick. But he's not who galvanized the team. It was Tom Brady, a player on the field who galvanized the team. You know, the Golden State Warriors in the NBA in the United States were a powerhouse for a decade. Steve Kerr was their coach, but Steph Curry was their leader. He galvanized the team on the court during play. And I don't think the U.S. team has that person.
All right, well, let me ask you this question.
And I think the European team does have that
we just
person.
went through that the European team has a number of different candites, which I don't disagree with.
Well, no, I think it's
led by
Rory. I think it's flat Rory. It's Rory.
In 2021, the U.S. won by a record margin of 19-9. This was their team. Colin Morikawa, Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, Tony Finau, Xander Schauffele, Jordan Spieth, Harris English, Daniel Berger, and Scotty Scheffler. They won by a record margin. Who on the team that I just gave you stands out to you as the alpha dog leader? I guess what I'm getting at here is, do we look at it and go, okay, well, if they don't feel like they have this definitive player leader amongst their ranks, is that okay? We can look at dominance of personalities in 21 and say, well, Brooks Koepka, but is Brooks Koepka the guy that's going to give you the inspirational speech and you're not going to run through the door, you're going to run through the wall?
Well, part of the problem is the U.S. team has never had that.
That's what I'm getting
at. In other words, well, no, if you go backward, well, I think it's a problem. I mean, they
won by a record margin in 2021, home team.
That's one single thing as a home team. If you look at the last 20 years, we've shown it a bunch of times. We're 8-3.
Right.
If you look at the history of the Ryder Cup, right, the modern times, Tiger, Jim Furyk, and Phil Mickelson are the guys that have played in the most Ryder Cups in the last 20 or 30 years.
And Phil have
Tiger is 13-21, terrible. Phil is 18-22, terrible. And Jim Furyk's probably the worst of them all, 10-20. Yeah. They can't win anything. And I think, again, this is a little bit before my time, but at the front end of this, when Tiger and Phil were on teams, there was sort of a friction between them, and I would argue that neither one of them were really leaders of the team. I think one of the knocks on Tiger was that he was never really into the team thing.
The word that I got back in those days from insiders, and it was delivered to me being said that the source is absolutely to be kept confidential. But back in those days, it was you are either Team Tiger or Team Phil. So there was a divide. There was no in between. You had to pick.
Let me finish it this way and just ask a straight question. Can the U.S. team build a successful cultural environment over the next 5 Ryder Cups if they don't find a guy?
That's a really interesting question because it takes me back to a theory that I've had for a long time. And you just went back. Andrew, you know that chart that you had that showed performance from 2002, which illustrated what Dom was saying, that Europe has an 8-3 record over that time span? If you take a look at this chart, what this chart doesn't show you is the Ryder Cup that was just before where it starts. That was at Brookline, when the United States came charging back in singles, down by 4, and won that Ryder Cup. That was the finger in the air by Captain Ben Crenshaw. And so what took place between then and now? At the end of 1999, Payne Stewart died tragically with others in a plane crash. My feeling has been for a long, long time that the U.S. equivalency of Seve Ballesteros was Payne Stewart. And it wasn't merely that he was coming into the role. He was squarely in it when he was taken too soon. Now, that's not to say that Payne Stewart necessarily would have continued, although he seemed to have the capacity, would have continued to be a driving force as a player on the United States Ryder Cup teams, but he definitely would have been an inspirational force in terms of the power of his personality, the passion with which he carried himself. So in 1999, the United States wins that remarkable comeback at Brookline in all that it meant. And you did hear yesterday in the opening comments by Keegan Bradley, instead of saying Justin Leonard and his improbable putt at 17 at Brookline, that Keegan Bradley was there watching as a boy, he said Justin Rose, which was kind of funny, but that happens when you're doing a big speech like that and you're probably nervous and all the rest. So we give him a bye on that, but it was just a cute human thing that took place. But to the point of what does it mean, to Dom's observation, I do believe that the talisman of the U.S. side, the modern Seve of the U.S. side, would have been Payne Stewart. And we lost him. And when we lost him, there was a compass lost because there was this search for leadership. And the search for leadership at that time went to individuals whose first and foremost was to how they conducted themselves, their own competition. And I think it hurt the United States. And the fact that those same individuals also became somehow the trusted brain trust for the U.S. side for all those years, I think the European side was sitting back, rolling one hand over the other and going, this is perfect. You know, where's your bulldog? Where's your person in the room that says, we have to see ourselves as underdogs? Don't talk to me about rankings. Don't talk to me about current performances and who has the most major championship wins. Who's going to sit in that room and go, guys, since 2002, you're 3-8. Don't talk to me about who the favorite is. You're 3-8. Go out there and get it done. You guys enjoy the Ryder Cup. Cannot wait. It starts at 7 a.m. if you're watching us in America. 7 a.m. on USA Network tomorrow. That is Eastern Time. Cannot wait to review all of this with you as we move forward. It lies in store, the eve of the 45th Ryder Cup.